Huh. Silly me pressing the be right back button? What a dumbass. Who the fuck watches me? Why would you take me seriously? Good morning, everybody. Fuck the GC. Uh, Listen, guys, when it comes to these new GCs, I fucking love it. Obviously, I have all the tools, but I've always been in the get 2 Omicrons and walk the fuck away camp. So for me now, I'm like, great, I can just spend 2 minutes on the GC instead of 10 to 15 minutes on the GC, and I'll still get my Omicrons. We've definitely devalued that game mode pretty significantly, to the point where, by the way, that also means that this guy, that Omicron, is worse than ever. And I think there might be a little bit of hope that it gets changed, that they do something with it. Like, change it to Conquest or something. Would that be good? At the start of the first turn, gains 10 stacks. Gain evasion whenever an ally uses a special ability for the next 2 turns. All of it is 50%. No, that wouldn't really do anything. Maybe they'll change it for Conquest. I have hope. That's all I'm saying, is that I have some hope. Oh my goodness. I just have the raid that needs to get done today. I know for the last 2 times I've had one of these streams where we have had TW going on. I have been what we would call the hero of TW, except TW is not looking very heroic right now. Oh, Lord Vader. Oh, fuck those Malkrons. Does Bo-Katan work against against this in TW? Let's find out. I don't know. Let's do it because we can. Because if we lose, it doesn't matter. Yeah, sure. Go with that. Okay. Can Bo-Katan have a turn now, please? Can Bodhi, did you like the card that I made? You inspired it, and I was like, oh, I hope he sees it. Well, this is not working as much as I thought it was. It's good, I guess it's a good thing that, it doesn't really matter, and... Oh, I didn't use the one that, well, that was dumb of me. That's TB only, huh? TW. GAC only. Okay, I got it. Limit. So also with that 5GC thing launching, I don't know if you had said it or somebody on Reddit had said it, but they had said that this is why the feats, the daily thing, should change or increase at the same time as your daily feats, which I do agree with. It's obviously, it's a really short-term problem, since next GC they'll be able to complete it, but it does seem a little bit, tone deaf to have that done. And I'm still in the camp that those episode quest should release weekly, not daily. I think that would make so much more sense. Oh, look at these. The Germans are up and attacking Lord Vader teams. I have done more math this week than any other time, and I said to Meathead, because on Friday I messaged him and I said, the change that you guys made, it is a good change. And he said a few things to me that I won't repeat, but then I said, the only thing that I'm really pissed off about is that I'm here on a Friday night sitting on the couch with my wife doing math. That really annoyed me, that I was sitting there doing math on a Friday night so that I could wake up on a Saturday morning to film a stupid little video. And Bodhi, I do agree with you. I know from the free-to-play aspect, it is a little bit tougher because they're not going to be able to get their currencies. I don't know what level that's on. This one, I think. They're not going to be able to get their currencies in time before the Omicron switchover, which 100% does suck, and that is a really annoying change. And again, I don't have any pull with CG or anything. I talk to Meathead intermittently, as I'm sure other guys do too. I will mention it to him on Monday, and I'm sure I'll get the same canned answer, I'll bring it to the team or whatever, but Hot, I'm gonna require you every time you come into a stream to give me a dad joke. That is your price of entry from now on. Every single time. Because I think, were you the one that gave me... I think you were the one that gave me the when does a bad joke become a dad joke thing, and I've used it multiple times in my real life. Bodhi, I actually have approached Meathead about doing a Tales Off the Holotables with me, and I did explain to him, it's not meant to be a gotcha piece, it's not meant to extract information out of him, Tales Off the Holotables is always meant to just be a feel-good thing where two people talk. The first time I talked to him about it, he seemed open to it, right? He seemed very, very open to it, but I haven't heard too much. He actually messaged me maybe a few weeks afterwards to ask about timing, and I've tried to bring it up 2 or 3 more times in the future and hadn't heard back. So I don't know if either he changed his mind or if, he brought it to his higher-ups and they were like, not after the AP Gaines fiasco. I have no idea, but I have tried and I will keep trying. Daniel, I apologize. It's a dad joke. They get around, just like my dad did. So... Chicken walks in the meeting. The host turns to him and says, "We don't serve your kind here." Oh my God! I come in on Monday mornings and I with the kids and I tell them these jokes, so they are appreciated. But hey, if more people talk to Meathead, if more people say, "Hey, you should really do a Tales," maybe one day I'll get that from him. I'm hoping. I think it would be a great interview. I think it would be fun. And then, though I did hear, I had mentioned to him, to Meathead, about giving Calvin Awesome the, Jar Jar kit reveal. And I heard recently that was planned, but then timing didn't work out, so maybe I do have some pull. So this is before I was involved in any type of video content creation, Tobias, so I didn't really know anything about the video stuff. The hearsay. But there was a time when, I think it was Crumb did do some interviews, and live, one of AP Gaines's subscribers asked a question about, what does it feel... How does it feel to suck dick for money or something really mean-spirited and shitty? And he asked it on air, and it was very off-putting. And since that day, CG has been a lot more tight-lipped about working with creators. But I feel like that has changed a little bit in the last maybe like 6 months. Meathead has, done giveaways, helped people with stuff. So I think that has slowly is starting to be chipped away. And I'm hoping that the Gungies do that too. Meathead is cautiously optimistic about participating in the Gungies and being a part of that. I've talked to him a few times about it. So I'm hoping that we can, do something and maybe extend that olive branch and still, have honest reporting, but without being dicks to each other. I would 100% offer to not post something if they trusted me to do something like that. I like to think, some people disagree, but I like to think that I'm the even-keeled, fair name in the community. That tries to think of both sides in a rational way. So I'm, hopeful, maybe one day. Maybe I'll bring it up next week and be like, hey, this would be a really great time to get some, hey, I'm a person 2 points. I did not pay attention to when I started the raid. We're just going to say 10 minutes. I also heard, So, Bodhi, I'll get to that in a second, but I also heard Scribe was telling me this morning that he had given Meathead the same critique that I had given him in terms of the GCs, psychologically, and doubling the points, but letting everybody do every feat. So I'm wondering if other people also mention that, and maybe that might be in the cards in the future. But I do agree, Bodhi, that's kind of why I started Tales Off the Holotables, and it was more selfishly driven because I was only doing text really at the time, and a lot of people were misunderstanding my tone and didn't realize that a lot of times I was at least trying to be humorous and I wasn't saying things to be serious. And it was taken to be that I was like being mean-spirited. So I really started it to kind of like humanize myself, but also learn about other people, which then devolved into doing brunches and videos and all of this other stuff. But I do try to keep in mind the human aspect. Anytime I'm talking to someone. Which is, and I'm not perfect at it. I've definitely had my moments on Reddit where I've said things that were not humanizing or were mean-spirited. But I try not to. I might have to reset this. Damn. I don't know. Sometimes Gungans can do an enrage wave. So let's see what happens. But not if it's 2 enrage waves. I don't even think you can get 2 enrage waves. Holy shit. That does not happen often. My double drops have actually been going really well. Those Cantina packs for Cantina Energy, I bought 3 of them. I got a ton of signal data. I have not gotten a lot of Omicrons. I only got 1 drop of Omicron, so 2 total. My shards have done very well. My great mothers are not done yet, but that's because I've been only doing 5 battles on them a day. Just because I need signal data so much right now. But overall, I've been very happy with my double drops. I think the other thing, I love the show Mythic Quest, which is basically about, like, well, WoW, really, if we think about it. And, you know, what the devs want to do versus what certain suits want to do to make money, or there's always going to be a disconnect. Yeah, I mean, I have, Con, I have 34,000 crystals right now, which is a lot of crystals, but it's really small amount for my horde, and I'm kind of going back and forth on if I want to, oh, fuck. Man, my memory. If I want to hard farm Syndulla or not. On the one hand, it would get me closer to Ahsoka, but then on the other hand, I didn't do it for whatever his name is. I might have like dementia. I can't remember crap. For Huyang. So if Ahsoka is coming out in episode 2, which is in a month, 3 weeks really, I have no hope to finish Huyang in that time, so it might not even be worth it. I try to keep it in mind. I like to talk to Meathead, and he is a tight-lipped guy who doesn't talk often, but then I like to join his streams and just chat with him, not about work, because I hate the idea of talking about work outside of work hours. But he is a nice guy. He really is. Now the real question is if I'll have enough luck with my Maul team to not have to restart it 8 frickin' times this week. Ooh, I didn't know that you guys had hidden commands on the 3 scoundrels. We have on ours, we have this one, which just tags Bones and tells him to go fuck himself, which is my favorite. And I really think you should bring it to the 3 Scoundrels one. I did limit it to once an hour, though, so he didn't get spammed constantly. But he seems to enjoy it. He likes when people tag him with it. Because I told him I'd take it out if he wanted me to. Alright. No, yeah, he likes it. Yeah, so I have that command Bodhi that I use, and when I do exclamation point Bones, it'll tag him, and it does the little fuck you Bones gif that Moonborn made. And then I have it set so it can only be used like once an hour. Ah, speaking of fuck you Bones, that's fucking right. Fuck you Bones. I love a good old fuck you Bones redemption. And it's always you, Nana, that, well, I don't know, you might have some kind of like Bones complex, because you always want me to like fuck Bones, man. Just comes right from the soul. Just a fuck you, Bones. God, I love that one. It's gonna get me banned from all these platforms. It can be used every hour, on the hour, Norelli, but only once per hour because I didn't want him to get tagged too much. And there was actually one Three Scoundrels episode where I coordinated so that every hour somebody came in and used the command, which was very funny because he just kept getting tagged. And he probably didn't interact. Like, I don't know. He wasn't paying attention to it, but it was still funny. That's true. I don't really have a lot of redemptions on Twitch just because I don't know. It becomes like a playing the game kind of thing, like offering people things that I can reasonably do without becoming a dance monkey. And I'm open to suggestions, of course, but it's that fine line of Egnard's artistic vision and being a circus monkey. Am I going to make the cut on not having to do an enrage wave? Oh, thank God. Bodhi, I have been advocating for you and I to be on a Three Scoundrels episode together forever. You know that. Like, I would listen to any book that you read as an audiobook. You have the most soothing voice I have ever heard. I love it. I just want to be on an episode with you, and it just never seems to work out. And there's Moonborn coming in with his German propaganda. Morning, Moonborn. Afternoon. Ooh, Moonborn, while you're here, I had an idea for another alert, right? We have, oh, I thought that was just the German word for hour, but I guess not. So we have this Jabba counter, right? I think we need one that I put up anytime the Jabba counter is not up. That is like the Jar Jar with money bags. And it's like a this many days since the last time I've spent counter. That I had that idea yesterday, and I was like, oh, I gotta talk to Moonborn about it. I will make it work to be on one if you are on it, because I every time, those are the ones I'm like, man, I gotta listen to this guy. 2 cucks and a droid. I crack myself up sometimes. Oh, don't we love all these bonus attacks? Oh my God, come on. Yeah, and listen, I spent money on the pass, so I spent money recently. But I think it would be a fun community thing. I spent money on the pass for science. I did, I know that, and I'm about that. But I think it would be a fun community thing to see, you know, every time I stop spending money for a time and then go, wait a second, his counter reset to 0. Is it bugging out for you, Nana? I love when the game is buggy and I don't have to play. We were actually talking about that on Reddit a few days ago. The time when TB just didn't work and they broke TB. It was so good. So, Jack Daniels, I assumed that it was the German word for hour. But it could also be that Moonborn is a Pokemon fanatic. Yeah, SnoreQuest, I wish, man. I really do wish. I do get it. I understand why they're there. They're there to make you feel like you're missing out, like psychologically. You're like, oh man, these are all these things I'm missing out on. I think it would be a little bit less aggressive if, at the very, very least, you could, one, turn it off for your dailies. But two, if the quests came out weekly instead of daily, at least you wouldn't have to put up with it every day and you'd still get them. What I will say is this. From my conversations, it does seem like after this last fix that they did, they do have other planned fixes based on engagement. I will say that from what I have heard, from what I have seen, from my conversations, it does feel like they are slowly releasing fixes until people engage fully. Take that for what it is. It does seem like they have it kind of planned and set up to kind of only give us what they want to give us. But again, with that said, I do think that the current fix is a huge deal. And I do think it fixes a ton of the issues. I think the only lasting problem right now, seriously, really? The only lasting problem right now is the psychological problem. Morning, Christian, Astra. I can't believe I lost Padawan Obi-Wan. I don't think it punishes players for beating the feats early, because you have 6 more GCs, but I do think psychologically, because players are already in a bad place of feeling, that they feel even worse after it. So I do get that aspect of it. I think if players were in a positive place right now, very few people would bring up that GC thing. So I do think that there is a lot of nitpicking going on because of the psychological aspect, and I get it. I very much get it. I very much understand it. It does make sense. The players are mad. It is definitely bad timing for something like that with... And those quests aren't random. So it is kind of like, well, why didn't you make that yesterday's quest? You know, when we talk about requested changes, I think we have to consider as a player base that, yes, there are so many fixes that I would like to see. Last year alone, I posted probably over 150 different threads, not replies, threads on Reddit. So I'm very prolific in coming up with fixes that need to happen. But it's not so much that every fix is going to just be something that the players are like, oh, the players want this, so... Oh, shit, I forgot to check what the thing is. Oh, the players want this, so we're going to do this. You know, they have to evolve the game for monetization reasons, and I get that, and I think that they did fuck up in certain aspects with this episode, with this release. There are some quality of life changes that we're going to be seeing real soon that I'm excited for. The simming change is a huge deal. Like that, I know it hasn't gone live yet, but that simming change is a huge deal. Like that is such a big time saver. The ticket change is a huge deal. especially during double drops for players who want to hoard some energies but not other energies and still be able to get their tickets. Like, that's a big deal. I do think that the Datacron UI is shit. Like, it is like one of the most terrible things. And I can't believe that hasn't been fixed yet. As for the players, the players right now, when you go to Reddit, it's a complete shit show. It is very funny. Like, I don't know what I'm gonna get in any one particular post between players calling me a shill. I've been called a CG shill more times than I can possibly count in this last week. Even though I have addressed all of these issues and I feel like have done a lot to try and get these issues brought to the forefront, but whatever. Do I think that galactic challenges are worse? I'm going to be honest with you. I think that galactic challenges are in an interesting place, and I have always hated galactic challenges. I've never felt that they were interesting at all. I obviously have the pass right now. I bought the pass for math-related reasons for the community, to kind of test it out and see. I do think that the pass is high value. I probably will not purchase it in the future. I have no reason to purchase it in the future. I like the GC change, but I understand that it is a psychological letdown, and I understand that players are upset about that psychological letdown. And I do think that psychological letdown should be addressed, and I've talked about it. Every video that I have posted in the last 3 days has talked about that psychological issue. I shouldn't use that move. That psychological issue. I do think that it is a big deal. The socks are not here yet. The NFL store is very slow. They've shipped them, but UPS tracking shows them as not being not being sent to them yet. Well, that has to, my point of view and everything has a lot to do with the math. And somebody on one of my videos said to me, and I understand the point, they said, respectfully, Egnards, I think that your view of the patch has to do with the fact that you purchased the pass. And I had said to them, I purchased the patch as a testing measure, but my point of view 100% has to do with the math. It has nothing to do with the patch at all, or the having the patch, or what the fuck is the word? Having the battle pass at all. Yeah, I'm gonna have to restart this, it looks like. Holy shit. But back to those GCs, once this new change comes out, I plan to literally do the absolute bare minimum with GCs going forward. I was always in the do 2 Omicrons and walk away, and I cannot wait. I was doing 75% effort on Omicrons, on GCs, and now I'm going to be doing 40% effort on them. And I'm excited for that. You know what, Daniel? The scary thing for me, honestly, is, I forget words a lot, and that's always been the case. But my grandmother had a brain tumor. My dad just died 3 years ago of brain cancer. So I'm every time I do that, I go, oh shit, I'm dying. So who the hell knows? Next year I could be dead. Who knows? How's my turkey? I I mean, I'm not really. I like turkey, but I'm not really a turkey person for Thanksgiving. I'm big on mashed potatoes. I am big on. I'm big on this one dessert. My family growing up, my mom used to make. She called ambrosia salad. I'm sure like different people make it different ways, but it was basically sour cream, which is one of the most disgusting things in the world. But for some reason, it worked in this dessert. It's basically sour cream, like mandarin oranges, maraschino cherries, whipped cream, and you like refrigerate it for 2 days. And it's like this most delicious thing in the world. And I'm a little bit disappointed. I'm not going to get it this year because, well, one, my mom died a decade ago. My sister-in-law makes it as well. And I usually go up to my brothers for Thanksgiving, but they decided to cancel family Thanksgiving this year for political reasons, which I don't want to talk about because I'm not a political person and we won't get into it. So I'm a little bit in low spirits right now because I was really looking forward to going upstate to see my family. So Thanksgiving this year is really, it's just going to be a very small thing at my in-laws' house. And that's fine, but I am kind of in low spirits knowing that I'm not going to see my nieces for Thanksgiving. Yeah, man, ambrosia is like my favorite thing in the world, and I don't make I don't make it because I feel it's one of those things where I feel like if I make it myself, it'll ruin the magic of it. So I was always like a holiday only thing. Maybe I'll ask my wife to make it or something. Or oh yeah, I don't want to make it because then it changes the whole dynamic. I've never been a yams or sweet potatoes person personally. I do love mashed potatoes, and I do love the canned cranberry sauce. I love that stuff so much. Like I would eat just that. I do think the game has gotten more complex. When I first started the game, obviously, I've said this before, I was super casual. Super, super casual. I was just playing for fun. I'd log in every day, but I did my dailies and maybe the raid and, didn't really try super hard. And now, some weeks, you have to, really... really, really spend a ton of time if you're doing it at a high end. Hell Week. Hell Week starts tomorrow. I hate Hell Week. Hell Week is awful. It's the worst thing. It takes so much effort. The only nice thing is my guild doesn't need my effort on day one. So very recently I used to do day one CMs even though I didn't need to because it would still help people who weren't putting in as much effort to be able to do their stuff, and I've just completely stopped doing day one CMs in TV. And I've started adding in battle priorities for my guild and letting them know which days are a 0 priority, day one, which days are you have to do all of your battles. We need every single combat point, which is day 2 for us. And which days are kind of it'd be nice if you do all your CMs, but, as long as you do most of them, it's fine. Which I do think has helped my guild a little bit. Oh, thank God. I have never had to repeat this battle as much as I've had to repeat it today. I think it's also because I'm just not paying attention. I've never had southern pecan pie. I've definitely had pecan pie before. But I don't know if I've ever really had like a southern style. Well, man, you know, you've probably seen my conquest guide. It's out there, and then on our Discord, Kazgul. The interesting about Kazgul is he treats conquest very differently than me, and we are both what I'd consider like gurus of the game mode. And he treats it very differently and approaches it in a very different way, and he's always in our chats for Conquest, so, you know, there's plenty of help available for this Conquest cycle. Only, it was like 2 months ago, man, that no, about a month ago, that, like, was the first time I ever had to rerun my Gungans, and I was like, what? Like, these usually, like, I've never had to do it before, and I had to do it today, too. And it's just, like, this crazy, crazy thing. Alright, I don't care. As long as I get 7 waves, I'm happy. Yeah, but you know what the nice thing about Kazgul is that he, if you tag him in Conquest chat, he will help you. Like, he'll look at your roster and be like, hey, have you tried this? The only problem is the people that need that the most always, like, reach out to us in the last 2 days of Conquest, and we go, we can't help you with 2 days left. You don't have the time left. I don't think I'm killing anybody. Yeah, that's fine though. I got 7 waves. I'm happy. Ooh. You know what solves ad breaks? Hype trains solve ad breaks. Gift subs help with ad breaks. I need to start, like, breaking out my tinfoil hat because, I don't know, like, Bones somehow gets all these hype train bullshits and he doesn't even know basic math. Alright, I have to change my mods. So let's change our mods. So the game will disconnect in a second. We'll get our hot utils out. I love hot utils, I really do. I reached out to them to do an ad during the Gungies, but Hot Sauce never got back to me. Which is messed up, man. Come on, Hot Sauce. How do you not appreciate the Gungies? I think he thought I wanted him to pay me, though. I should maybe clarify that I don't want money for it. I just want the Gungies to be successful. Of which, if you didn't vote, go vote in the Gungies. There are... How many people have voted so far? Let's see. Forms, the Gungies Final Ballot. 898 people have voted so far. 898 people. Damn. I want to get to that 1,000. Alright. My Naboo raid is done. I need the game to just register the fact that... there we go. Then I have to reload it. I hate modding. I don't ever remod, ever. Not Nomad, is that who I have to ask? Because I messaged Hot Sauce and literally heard nothing, Nick. Not even a no. I figured he was the only person. I didn't realize that there were other people that would have the authority to say something. But I will afterwards. Let's see. Oh, no, I don't want to buy that. That would be silly. I also need to start investing in more mods. With with everything going on in the game right now, I find that I'm always low on the mods that I need. And especially, like, these bad boys. And actually, I do want to get Enox Omicron. Do want that. Ooh, before I do the raid, I'm going to forget. If I don't do this now, I will forget. Alright, I'll have to reach out to him then. So I would like some fun ad breaks in there that are all game related. I've talked to a bunch of smaller creators about that too. I don't want to talk too heavily about where I stand in the Gungies because I really don't want to influence my own standings. I think that would be unfair, considering I have access to those vote counts. What I will say is, in some categories, I am not surprised. I think in all categories, I am surprised that anybody really voted for me, especially when you talk about guys like Scribe and Nooch. There are some categories I have more votes than I expected, and there are some where I'm like, oh, that makes sense. But that's really all I can say right now without influencing things. I do plan on releasing the graphs after the Gungies of the current vote counts. And given the 2024 Gungies, voting the way that we've done it, I do have a lot of ideas for making it even better in the future for 2025. We've talked about other, oh no, I still need R7. We've talked about other categories we want to do. Like, I would like to do a podcast one specifically for game-related podcasts. I beforehand, I didn't realize just how many there were. I would like to do one for non-traditional creators, which I didn't want to do originally, because I feel like I thought at least that it was really just me and Kazgul that would be in that category, and I didn't think that was fair and kind of too self-inducing. But I have come, to realize that there are more people who are more non-traditional content creators, Moonborn being one of them, who does, tons of infographics. Even the Gerbil does a lot of infographics for himself, even though he does video also. I think he would fall in line there as well. How did we choose the candidates? So when it came to choosing candidates for the Gungies, we actually did a nomination round. Fuck, see, anytime that happens, I know I've already lost. What we did is a nomination round, and in the God damn it. In the nomination round, we left it completely open. We did not influence people. We just said, who will you nominate? And then we took the top, for most categories, we took the top 5 people in each category that were listed as the nominations. In some categories, if there was a 6th place who was like right behind 5th place, and it was someone that had not been nominated in any other category, We added that person too to make it more interesting. And then we did the top 8. So there were a lot of people that got nominations, but when you talk about someone like Scribe, who maybe got like 80 nominations, and Nooch, who maybe got like 80 nominations, and then insert content creator name here got 2, it didn't make sense to put them on the ballot. So we did have a nomination round. Next year, the nomination round, I've decided to change it, the way that the nomination round is going to work. And we're going to do it with a drop-down list instead. With everybody that was nominated this time, and anyone else that we find in the interim. But there actually are so many more creators than I realized. And a lot of like smaller ones and up-and-coming ones. I've talked about this one guy, Kebalak, who's on Twitch. He's a brand new account. He's not like an informational content creator. And I love the guy. I pop into his streams a lot over the last week just because he's like a happy-go-lucky, just good feel guy. Just trying to make his way through the game, and I kind of enjoy him for that. But very, very, very small time because he just started, But we did have a nomination round, not to get on a tangent, and our nominees were based on that nomination round. And I think, looking at the votes, I'm impressed with the community looking at the votes, because I really did think that like everybody would vote for their favorite, like their creator that they just were a fan of. And when I look at the differences in different categories, I'm very impressed. And I go, oh, like, people did take this seriously, which was kind of cool to see. And I am hoping, next year, we will be taken even more seriously, and we'll, I won't have to do as much outreach, and people will know about us more, which I think and hope will be an interesting prospect to get even more voting. One of the things that I see, like, on our Discord, I see the roles, and I see, like, how people interact with Discord and how many people are signed into different people's notifications. And looking at the Gungies notifications, like, it's getting up there. There are a decent number. Oh fuck, wrong thing. There are a decent number of people who are just in tune with wanting to hear about the Gungies, which is kind of cool. So I think next year will be easier. This year we had to invent everything out of thin air. Next year we won't have to do that, and I'm kind of excited for that. Ugh, gross. Come on. I think, the hard thing with Arnold is that he and the reason why we didn't allow him in this is, there is a difference between somebody like Scribe, who has like 20,000 followers, and Nooch, who has like 30,000 followers, and Arnold, who has over 250,000 followers. You're always going to have people that just vote on popularity, even if somebody doesn't embody a certain category. And I think with the overwhelming numbers that he has, that we would still see the same thing happen with him. And I've said this, we do have Arnold-related plans for the Gungies. We don't plan to leave him completely in the dust at all. We do recognize that he is the face of this game, and we do want to recognize this. But I do think that it just would not be fun with him involved on the same level. Now, with that said, next year, with some of the expanded categories, we may decide to do certain things with categories, with limiting content creators to only being nominated for a certain number of categories. So, next year that might change. But the other thing is that even if if I did a nomination next year and I say I'm going to limit it to 4 categories per content creators, I can get in touch with every content creator easily. And I think I have enough credibility to do that. Very few people have left me on red ever. Arnold is at a different level, and getting in contact with him is very difficult. So that would be very hard to do. But I would like him involved. I do want to expand the smaller content creator categories, as I see there are so many of them that I never even knew existed. So that is something I really want to expand on, is small content creator categories, to give them more opportunity to shine. And that is something that we will talk about next year. Maybe having a few up-and-coming categories, like up-and-coming under 1,000, up-and-coming under 5,000, something like that. As for Nooch, I don't know. I'm in the content creator world, but I'm also removed from the content creator world. I've talked to Nooch on a few occasions. Very, very limited occasions. He is the reason I started doing roster reviews, because somebody mentioned that he was charging like $50 at one point. I was like, this is absurd. He is involved with the Gungies. He has committed to doing a bit for the Gungies, so I've talked to him. He seems like but I don't watch. I don't really watch anything that he does, or really anything other people do. Who I talked to yesterday briefly for the first time? I talked to Darth Loquitur, because Captain mentioned that I was going up against him in GAC, but it was really just some imposter named Egnard. And I went and listened to the channel for a few minutes, and I was like, man, this guy is a positive guy. Like, it was just so heartfelt and heartwarming to listen to his stuff. So I talked to him like super, super briefly yesterday. I was just really impressed about that. As for panel awards, the Gungies does have a panel. We have the Gungies planning committee, and myself and Cap are on it. C Squared, Christian is on it. Belloc is on it. Moonborn is on it, and he's unfortunately had to do the most work out of anybody, because there's just so much graphical work that needs to be done. The other Sean is on it. I want to expand the committee a little bit next year. And I've gone back and forth on adding other content creators to it just because I don't want it to be for the content creators by the content creators. I want it to be for the community by the community, but I do want to expand the panel next year. The panel does help me make a lot of decisions in relation to the Gungies, especially to make sure it's not just the Egnard show. Yeah, I only talked to him like super briefly, just to say like I appreciated his stuff and that I wanted to connect in the future. But like I was watching him and he was talking about this guy Egnard's roster, and he was just so positive on it. He was very much like, hey man, if this guy's watching, like you've done such a great job, like you're so awesome, like this is a really good thing. And I was like, dude, this is what this community needs more of, is just more people knowing that other people are people, and I really loved that. So I gotta give him a shout on that, obviously. Ugh. Well, I'm in his Discord now. I am in it now. I haven't really kept on it. I'm obviously, as you can imagine, I'm in a lot of Discords, so it's very hard to check them unless somebody like tags me. But I was impressed. Before yesterday, I really just thought he was the new game guy. That's all I really knew about him, is that he did like new game content. And I was just so enthralled listening to him. Ooh, am I gonna... No, I'm not gonna... Oh, fuck. You know, I did the same thing last week. Son of a bitch. You guys gotta remind me of this shit. I was on the wrong level. I did the same fucking thing last week. Where I realized, like, wait a second, I'm not at the same amount of points I should be at. And you guys all laughed at me last week, and you're all probably laughing at me again this week. That's okay. That means I get to talk more. If anyone cares, I saw Gladiator 2 yesterday. It was very good. I enjoyed it. Very long movie, but it didn't really feel that long. It felt like it was in a good place. Daniel, I just got an email from the NFL shop that was like, what is this, like a week later? I thought it was maybe an order thing, and they were like, thank you for your order. Here, just enjoy a discount. Here's our gift for you, to spend more money. Every week where I just accidentally play the wrong tier, maybe I do it on purpose so that I can extend brunches. Alien Romulus was good. I've never really seen other Alien movies. I did see the weird one where Ripley like has an alien baby and then has to eject it from the spaceship. But I've never really been invested in the franchise. And I did like Alien Romulus. We were going to put up our Christmas lights yesterday. But the Gladiator was just such a long movie, and by the time we got home, my wife wasn't feeling it. So we're probably going to do it today. You know what I'm excited to wear, though, is, and I will wear it on stream because it's my favorite thing in the world. I have a Mega Man Ugly Christmas sweater. What is this shit? And I am so excited for when I can wear my Mega Man Ugly Christmas sweater. I bought it off of one of those like cheap anime websites where you're not even really sure that you're going to get your item because it's totally not sanctioned by Capcom and is most definitely going to steal your money. But I took a chance, and it did show up last year. And I am super, super, super excited for ugly Christmas sweater weather. Oh my god, Moonborn. Moonborn, are you here? Moonborn, are you still here? Moonborn, we need an Egnards ugly Christmas sweater. I know we have that merch shop. I know we do, but I need an Egnards ugly Christmas sweater. In time for the holidays, too. We need it. I always forget which one. Man, my memory is shot. He's probably gone, having fun with his family. Interesting. Oh, Nena, you know what? I just noticed because I don't see in my thing. I just noticed your block comment, and when you said, oh, you have mods, I thought you were talking about, like, modding in the game. I didn't realize you were talking about, like, Twitch modding. I think Belloc put that in as an auto thing, because normally when people say viewers, it's like those viewer bots. I do there, like I said, I do think that there are some areas of the Gungies where I'm like, I think that my viewers just have more, I don't want to say respect for me, but maybe are fanatical in some ways because of the data-driven approach. I got you. Yeah, Moonboard loves to watch me on the TV. I want like a really ugly Christmas sweater, and I want it in time for people to buy it for the holidays. We did do the merch shop a few months ago, and we never really expected people to buy merch. But like we were like, oh, maybe some people will buy it, and I was right. Like people don't really buy it, and that's fine. We actually put it up mostly because I wanted a hoodie to wear on stream. And then decided to put it up for everybody. But I definitely want an Egnard's ugly Christmas sweater. My wife will be like, what is with you and your crazy crap? I'm assuming Zavora's not here right now, but we are going to see Wicked today. If he happens to be. Come on. Well, I think I can probably still get to my million. As long as I can get to my 1 million, I'm fine. Well, my favorite holiday drink is actually coquito. Rum-based. It's basically rum-based eggnog. Come on. This is so stupid. It's fine. As long as I get into the next wave. Man. Before Mace died, this looked like a sure thing. Ooh, okay. Maybe I can still get it. Mega Man versus Palpatine for sweater. I'm telling you, Michael, I cannot wait to break out that Mega Man ugly Christmas sweater. It is like my favorite things. GAC revamp, I think, is probably on the horizon. I personally think they've mostly given up on TW, but I do think that TW needs, especially with how much, with how important droid brains are now, like that they have to add one or two divisions that give like 2 or 3 even for a loss, because it feels so. As much as I hate TW, and we're gonna lose TW, as much as I hate TW, like I hate the fact that it's 5 or 1. All right, we have to go back to hot utils. I need to go back and bring my mods back. Well, unfortunately, I think that Moonborn, while he can design a Mega Man versus Emperor Palpatine sweater, I don't think our merch shop will allow us to sell it. Unfortunately, as much as I would love that, I don't think we have the license to either of those things. But everyone should go buy a brunch mug. They're lovely. Alright, where is Hot Utils at? Hot Utils is finishing up. Oh man, I hate the idea of R10 being gated behind TW, making TW even more important. You have literally unlocked a big fear of mine that they would do something like that. Yes, Norquest, I have a Mega Man ugly Christmas sweater that is most definitely unauthorized, and in December I will 100% be wearing it. Okay, I have to do pretty good, right? Because 8.5, so I have to do 7.7, 8.5, right? So I can't do math right now. 5 minus 7.7. Oh my god. I have to do a lot of points. I might not make it. Alright, let's see. Let's see what happens. I always try to get this box, but I might not make it this time. I wonder, I'm going to try this as a 3-man. I don't think it'll work. A Mega Man sweater. Oh my god. Oh, Kunked. Look at you trying to... Kunked has been on a spree lately because he heard me tell him when he said that I told him that Arnold has gifted me more money than any single person in one transaction than any single person. And he got mad about that and demanded I tell him how much, but I refused to tell him how much. They are definitely opening the floodgates on R9, and I have, well, you know, Kunked, I do appreciate it. You got us a very rare hype train. We very rarely see hype trains here, because, you know, that's just how we are. But I have been saying that in a lot of my videos and a lot of my roster reviews lately, that they have definitely been releasing the floodgates on R9 between Duel of the Fates and between Paw Patrol, Peridia Patrol. I recognize it. I see it for what it is. Other people keep saying, like, oh, they have to make it more accessible if they want to do more R9s, and that's them signaling that they are unlocking more R9 stuff. And I want to be on that train. All right, this does not seem to be working how I want it to be, so I'm going to go back to my level 3, which means that I'm probably not going to unlock the thing that I want to do. Let's go Jedi. Let's try this as a 4-man. I wonder how this will work. Top cheerer gets a conductor badge. Ooh, you already did it? Moon, awesome. I love you, man. It's kind of sad that I talk to Moonborn more than I do the people that live closest to me. Look, I'm the person that will tell you not to R9 JML. I am not. Yeah, you guys are gonna let Kunked be the conductor. All right, I need the 5-man. That's my only hope. I don't think JML is a good R9 for most people. I just don't. I think that JML is a great R9 for people that are on the top of the K1 meta for GAC. But I don't think it's a good one for most people. I think it is a waste. And for someone earlier in the game, Daniel, I think you should only be putting R9s on characters who are requirements for things. I'm actually surprised that we don't have R9 yet. I'm very, very surprised, but I do think that them opening the floodgates as much as they have is our signal that R9 is coming. And more people need to recognize that. Yeah, there's just too many good characters in the game, or too many requirement characters in the game for there to be to R9 things that are not requirements. No, so Jack Daniels, here is my reasoning for no JML. Yes, he is a tank, right? I get that. I understand that wholeheartedly. And that's why I say he is a good R9 for people that want to compete at the very, very height of GAC. But there is a difference between things that'll help your team and things that'll help your account. And that's a huge distinction that a lot of people just don't understand. For most people, see, I'm not even paying attention. For most people, having an R9 JML is not going to help them at all. It might allow them to win an extra GAC, but then they're going to lose another GAC on the back end. So it functionally does nothing for them when there are other things that are going to do so much more for them. I'll tell you right now, my Piet is not R9. I didn't do it. You know, I did Gungies as that was my stand, was Gungies. I did that as a fun project, not as a requirement project. Marin, I did because I made an offhand comment on Reddit saying if Arnold bought me Marin, I would R9 her, and he did, so I R9'd her. But that's about it. It doesn't, I mean, my Jack Daniels, go on my Discord. I use my R8 JML consistently on auto and don't have a problem using him and winning on auto all the way up to Lothal. And I don't need the combat points in Ring of Khafreen yet, so there's really no reason for me to bring him to R9. What I have said is that in the event that I start needing combat points in Ring of Khafreen, that JML will be one of the first things that I R9, you know, for that reason. Yeah, I'm not going to hit my goal. Kind of sucks, but that's alright. I'm like actually doing terrible on these points this time. And when it comes to TW, if your guild is not TW competitive, you're going to win and lose based on the algorithm anyway. So it doesn't matter. Alright, whatever. I didn't get my 8.5. It's fine. I literally don't care. So for a lot of people, I just do not see JML as being a smart investment. There are a contingent of people, but I think there are just better investments for most people. My JML carries my teams heavily at R9 or R8. Heavily. I've been buying a lot of keypads lately because I know I need them. Let's see. Anything good? I don't need battle computers. I'm starting to really get drained on this. Per shot, 30,000 per shot is nice, but only if it's functionally changing your ability to do the things that you want a character to do. That's the thing to remember. And if it's functionally changing and increasing, that's great for you. For me, I just don't see the upside for a player like me to do it, and so I'm not going to do it. And if I get somebody who says that they're like a heavy K1 GAC player, I would say, yeah, of course do it. But I have not put myself in a position where I feel like it is something I necessarily need to do. All right, it looks like we have finished everything we need to do in the game, which means we can move on to roster reviews, which is always a ton of talking. Oh my god, this is beautiful. Oh, Moonborn. I don't know if I have time to put this up right now, but I'm going to keep talking and we're going to try to do it. Let's see. Video elements. Background. No, be right back. End cards. Intros. Where is it? Where is Jabba? Background. Top background alerts. Jar Jar spending. How many Omicrons do I have now? I have a very small amount. I'm stalling with the game here for a reason right now because I want to throw something up that is hilarious to me, and I want to be able to get on the screen. But I only have 25 Omicrons. I just did one this morning for TB. I did the Captain Enoch. Is it? Yeah, Captain Enoch, I think, is the TB one. I value my time as my most important resource, and I know he can auto the hell out of TB, especially as I'm bringing him to R9 eventually. I've been doing a lot of Omicrons for shits and giggles lately. And what that means is I've done more than one Omicron that people have asked me to do. Basically from doing our polls each week. Where is it? Media files. No, images. From doing our polls every 2 weeks. And like, I think I did one on Savage recently, which I wouldn't have done on my own. And then I did another one for some GAC guy that Kazgul was pushing me to do. So I've just been burning them left and right recently. Video elements. Oh, this is so beautiful. Be right back. Background. No, it's not a topper. Background alerts. Look at this. Look at this beauty right here. We're going to add that in our stream. We're going to throw that up. And we have to add a image or a text. What do we call this? We need to add text counter. We'll call this one spending counter. And how many days? I spent on Tuesday, right? Tuesday was Wednesday I spent. Wednesday, so Thursday, Friday, Saturday. So it's actually only been 4 days since the last time I spent. Isn't this beautiful, guys? Like, can we all just take a minute to appreciate Moonborn and the things that he does? And he literally just made that. He just did it off of me just saying, hey man, this would be really funny. So we're going to keep that on streams. And now we have 2 alerts that we can switch between, right? We have the Java counter. And we have, well, Java counter should say 0. Don't know why it doesn't say 0 right now. Java counter, why don't you say anything? Moonborn is just amazing at everything, is what we have to learn to appreciate. I don't know why the counter for it is not showing up. I have to figure that out. Oh, it's hidden under. That's why. There we go. Ah, look at that. These bots are getting smart. Well, anyway, I got roster reviews to do now, right? And when we do our roster reviews, I just want to take a very, very quick break to get some water because I end up doing a ton of talking during roster reviews. So I will be right back. And I'll have to delete that because I don't think any of my mods are on. All right, we're back. Daniel, to answer your question about the Omicron for POW, my belief on the POW Omicron is, I won't get it. I do understand that some late game players are saying it is a real time saver. I don't particularly see it at the late game. I do see some utility in the early game to really up people's ability to get things from Conquest. I definitely think in like the 4 to maybe 7 or 8 million range, it's not a bad investment at all to make Conquest a lot, significantly easier. So I do think you probably fall into that category where it makes sense to do it. So, definitely. What is this? This is just water right now because during roster reviews, I need some hydration, especially since being diagnosed with really severe asthma and taking all these different inhalers. My throat has not had the same coating, and I am way more affected by talking constantly than I used to be. The last time I went to the pulmonologist a few weeks ago, they literally told me, they're like, your second cat is killing you. And they literally said to me, you need to not do anything related to cat maintenance. Like, you shouldn't be doing the litter box. You shouldn't be cleaning them. You need to stay away from your own cats. So I definitely need the water. Let's see. We have a few reviews on the docket today, and they're going to be a little bit out of order because one of the perks, and there are a few perks, not too many of them, again, because I want to be accessible, but a few perks to being a part of either the YouTube or Buy Me a Beer Club is that I do prioritize your reviews. So we're going to go a little bit out of order today. Get this lovely purple name too. Yeah, Nana, I drink a lot more on my nighttime streams when we do GAC, and that's when when I don't care anymore, when I just start throwing random teams at things. I actually slowed down my drinking a little bit, not for alcoholic related reasons, but because I noticed I was gaining some weight, and I was like, I need to cut back a little bit on drinking and eating carb heavy foods. because I love my carb-heavy foods, as we all probably do. You know, I know I look very small, but still. It was noticeable to me. With that said, let's get into our first one. What is our time? 140. So we got one. Hey, Black Hammer, what's going on, man? Fuck you. 140.30. I had some amaretto at 8 in my coffee. I like some amaretto, and it doesn't feel like an alcoholic if you have some of that. Let's see. Top 20 of your fleet. Mix of P1 executors and profundities. I can place top 5 every day. No one has bothered to form a chat yet, interestingly enough. I highly recommend forming a chat. It makes your life easier, not just from the perspective of icing people out, which is not what my chat does. We let anyone in, really, that asks about it. But it just, if people follow the chat correctly, you'll have to do less. We'll have to do less battles because people will jump more efficiently. And I've also found that if I just stay at like 3, people won't attack me most of the time because they want to get to 2 or to 1. So if I stay at 3, I don't even bother doing a battle during the day, other than to just like auto it. And if I win, I win. I lose, I lose. I do love me some instant ramen. And can I tell you, Nena, I used to do this back in college. My friend who grew up in Hawaii taught me this. He used to take the instant ramen and crush up the packet in it, and then open it up and take out the seasoning and put it on. And then you close the packet up and shake it, and you eat it like chips. It's one of my favorite snacks. And now I think ramen actually makes that as a snack because it caught on. It's one of my favorite things to do. And I still buy instant ramen sometimes just to have that comfort snack. Anyway, I got to get in on this roster review, right? So assault battles. Do your best if you don't remember. All of them are between CT2 and CT3. Okay, so everything's pretty good on the assault battle front. We don't have to worry too much. I've been working on Inquisitors for a long time. We'll finally should finish this next row with a Riva unlock. I'm also 30 shards away from Bane, and I believe I'll be able to unlock in next Conquest. I'm sitting on 100 Omicron, so I think I can do them back to back. After, I think I'd want to go for a GL, either JMK, Leia, or Jabba, but Jabba. That reminds me, we actually have to switch our alerts, right? We got to switch from Jar Jar to Jabba for this. After I think I want to go for a GL. I'm not dead set on them, but I do find fun and efficiency GAC. So JMK is most likely the one I lean towards the most. I've read the Darth Bane trilogy 3 times. Doesn't hurt that he's a monster in game. Other than that, I'm a big fan of Old Republic. Okay, let's see what we got here, shall we? Let's head over, switch this to .gg. Oh, yeah, that is a fun story from when I was 18, which is disgustingly 19 years ago. Terribly. All right, what do we got? We got an 8 million account. Kyber 4. We wailed on punishing 1. We have an R9 JML. Interesting, we were just talking about that. We are not going to look at assault battles because if they're between 2 and 3, we're not bad. But if you give me a full list, I can maybe find ones that you could definitely possibly isolate at a higher level. When you do Banes, Omicrons, I'm going to tell you, I think I have 2 of them. I don't think I got all 3. There was one that was not as interesting. Let's check out where those... Actually, let's check out the guild first. What are we doing? The raid. We're doing about 68 million. 68 million wall. So you're doing way more than you need to. So that's perfect. Let's see where we are with these GLs, shall we? So you isolate as wanting to do... Oh, interesting that these pictures are not working. You isolate wanting to do Jabba 1200, Leia 900, and JMK 800. You are closest to Jedi Master Kenobi. Let's check out the Whirlwind Omicron on Cal? Or are you talking about Bane? Oh, he has Malevolent Whirlwind. Yeah. I know what you're talking about now. Never mind. What do I have? I can't even look because this is Moonborn's account. Well, I guess I could pull mine up, actually. Which ones do I have? Yeah, I only have one. I have the rule of 2, and I have never found any reason, like, I've lost battles with Bane that I thought I'd win maybe like 5% of the time. So just kind of keep that in mind when you're doing Bane. And same thing with Riva, with Third Sister, right? So I think I have, maybe I just bought the, no, I guess I still only have one of hers too. Harbored Aggression. It's the only one I have, and again, I don't think I've ever lost with Riva a battle that I went into expecting to win. I've only lost ones where I was like in a pinch and said, let me see if this works, and it didn't, and I don't think that the Omicrons would have changed those things. That's something that a lot of people don't realize with like these 3 Omicron characters. It's very, very rare that you need more than one of them. Needing more than 2 is exceptionally rare. Bo-Katan Mandalore, I think I just recently got the second one. Yeah, I just recently got the second one. I don't remember which one is more important, but I don't think I've noticed any real difference since getting it. Let's see. 3 GLs. Let's check out these ships. Profundity, Executor, nothing on Leviathan. Where are we on Leviathan right now? Oh, wow. It's interesting that you are like, man, I really like the Old Republic era, and you just, it does not seem like you have put a lot of work into, like, your Sith Empire yet. At all. That's like really incredible to isolate that as being something you really like. And Sith ships, and have just largely ignored this. I mean, I don't think, especially because you do have P1 and you have Profundity. So I don't think you necessarily need to rush Leviathan, but I will say, oh, you know what? Malicos was the one that I was pressured into doing. Caswell made me do it on the day that my stream made me Relic Malicos. I will say that you probably don't need to rush Leviathan, but being as that you are like a GAC person, being on top of your fleets, there is just nothing that compares to being on top of your fleets. Like, it's such a huge thing, and it's something that most players should not sleep on at all. Don't have Malgus, and yeah, you did this about a week ago, so let's see, what about Cat? You do have Cat, which does make a little bit of a case for JMK. And then I'm curious about your own. You have Rey. You do have the Zori Omicron. My units, let's just check out your relict units, Omicrons. Okay. The Zam Omicron is kind of outdated at this point. I find I almost never use it anymore, so you're kind of good there. These are all TW ones going down from Mara Jade. They're good ones, but if your guild isn't asking you to do them, you know, I would not prioritize them at all. I like my Asajj one. I don't feel like it has changed the tide of any battles, though. So it seems like you have a lot of Omicrons. and you don't really have any sticking out that that are sticking out and saying, hey, like, you should get these. So that is good, at least from your relic units. Let's just see from your units. Yeah, there's really nothing crazy. Well, it doesn't look like his guild is really pushing him to do any TW1s, and if you're not being pushed to do any Omicrons throughout an entire guild is nothing. So it's something that I would mostly just honestly ignore. Queen Amidala, interesting that you got all three. Again, I don't think I've done all three. What did I do? I just have the one Unloyal Bodyguard, and I haven't really felt like they've lost any battles that I expected to win. Let's see the bottom half of your roster. So when we talk, one thing is you're about 8 million, and a lot of people, I would say, don't sleep on like Ahsoka stuff and Balin, but it looks like you're in a more casual guild that's not really pushing rating. So, you know, it doesn't seem like something you really have to be going for, which is kind of nice. Want to get a good breadth of everything. Okay. All right. So here is what I think I would do. I said that you don't need to prioritize Leviathan, but I do think that you should give it some credence. Because the sooner you get it, the sooner you don't have to like wail on it and get it to 7 stars right away. And if you're unlocking Bane, you're probably also getting shards for things like Malgus and Fury class. I think that at least for the Sith ships right now, I would try to slow farm 1 or 2 of them at a time to at least kind of push you in that direction. I think that once you're... Do we have her yet? No. Not yet. Grand, yeah. Once you're... Well, it doesn't really matter because you have Grand Inquisitor. I would say that your major project right now should really be Jabba, not JMK. I understand that you're closer to JMK, but the reality is that you're not too far away from either of them, and I cannot stress enough, especially as a GAC player, while I understand that JMK is a super strong squad for everything, there isn't really a lot of backing behind him. Whereas Jabba is going to give you Smuggler's Run 2. I think it comes around 3 times a month. It's either 2.5 or 3 times a month. And if you're a serious GAC player, your modding should be one of your first priorities, right? JMK can wait. Jabba is also an incredibly strong GAC team, an incredibly strong Conquest team, an incredibly strong TW team. I would say right under JMK in terms of viability, but you're also getting the ROI on the Smuggler's Run 2. So I think that largely it's a much more important project for you. JMK or Leia next. It's 3 to... Yeah, it's insane how much SR2 comes around. And especially because it's going to be simmable soon, there's just so much... Like, it's such a beautiful event, and it does so much for a player that's going to rely on their modding, and if you're a GAC player, you need to really focus on your modding. I think that Jabba is your priority right now. I think that JMK is your second priority after Jabba. I do think you should not sleep on Leviathan things, and at the very least should be doing like 5 battles a day on 1 or 2 of the Sith ships to start to get them. Mark 6 is a good one to start with, because once people start unlocking Leviathans in your fleet, MK6 works also as a profundity reinforcement to help with destroying Leviathans, which will push your need to go that route even less. I know, the event just ended yesterday, right? And we're already getting the announcement for the next one, and I literally cannot wait until it is simmable, because I hate doing the event, but I love the event. So when we talk about slow farming a Sith ship, I think Mark 6 should be your first priority as a slow farm. I wouldn't sleep on well, I guess it depends on your guild. Bo-Katan is just such a solid squad, and once I unlocked it, it helped me a ton in GACs with taking out Lord Vader's. But once your guild starts also doing like Mandalore and Zepho, you start to get out of that Kyrotech, the Kyrotech stranglehold rather. And it's a really nice feeling. It's a great squad, but I don't think it should be your priority right now. I think Jabba is your absolute, hands down, main priority right now. And I most definitely think that JMK should be that next priority for right now. Start slow farming 1 or 2 Sith ships. As someone who likes Old Republic, you're at the point where you can start putting some degree of priority towards your Old Republic, because you're going to want Malgus, you're going to want Malik, you're going to want a Sith Empire squad, you're going to want Leviathan, you're going to want to be on top of your fleets. Who makes CT3 on MM easier, 3-pack or Mothma? CT3 on Military Might, this is the team that you want. CLS, Chew-PO in the second slot, Han Solo, C-3PO, and Mon Mothma. Get rid of Chewbacca. In the first round, do the event special on everybody, then hit auto. You'll win, hands down. I have seen it done even with no Zetas on Mon Mothma, and even at low gear with no mods, at like gear 10. She makes it so easy with that squad. So I think that that's the way to go for you. When it comes to Omicrons, there's nothing egregious that you're missing right now. I would caution you again to really only do 1 for Reva and really only to do 1 for Bane, as I showed you before with my own account, right? And I really have not seen any issues. For Bane, I have Rule of 2. For Third Sister, I have Harbored Aggression. Save some of those for other things. Like, you're going to want... I have all 3 of Malgus's. I don't think that all 3 of Malgus's are definitely important, especially now that people are putting him more on offense than defense. He was primarily a defense GL for a very long time, which is not really the case anymore. So as you start to unlock those things, be careful. One of the best things that you can do as a player, especially if you're unlocking things second run or third run, and not right when they come out, is going into .gg, hitting this, not the Omicron tools, what to Omicron, taking your relic units, and seeing the priority of Omicrons. And seeing like, hey, this is how many people have this, and this is what the % of total is, and blah, blah, blah. And you can do it related to all and everything as well. Percent of unit. And just seeing what the most responsible ones are. And it's not always correct, because Zam was very, very, very prominent for a very long time and isn't really necessary anymore. But I do think when we're talking about like 3 Omicron teams, that it is something that you should, keep your mind and keep your eye on, because it is super rare that all three are something that's necessary. With that said, hopefully that gives you some perspective. The last thing I'll say is Leia. Leia's great. Ender Escalation sucks, but it's still free stuff. But I think with the volume of things that you have on your plate, that it's not necessarily a priority for you right now. And I generally tell people that she is a decent priority. So, kind of keep that in mind. Okay, what do we got here? Dugu. Let's move on. Ooh, man, that took a lot of wind out of me. Dugu. Dugu. We are at the 2 hour, let's say 2:01 mark. 2:01. Take a second to breathe. Oh my God. By the way, we hit over 900 votes in the Gungies. Where is it? Gungies Final Ballot. 901 votes. Oh, wait, no, I don't want you to see that. Oh, that was bad. Well, I guess you guys see a little bit of it, but you're not going to see the rest of it. 901 votes. All right, let's move on and ignore that I just showed you some of the graphs. Dugu. Hi, I've had a roster review before, but approaching a crossroads, so it feels like a time for an update. What's the top 20 of your Fleet Arena look like? Young Shard, where the top 10 of your Fleet Arena looks like. Top 10 is 7-star executors with RNG, usually top 2. The 1R9 Piet is a headache. Are you coordinating? Yes, I set it up. There are a couple who haven't joined, but they haven't caused problems. Okay, so that at least is good. Assault battles. Most of them seem to be in order, except Fanatical Devotion, Forest Moon, Rebel Roundup. Okay. Farming tickets for JML. Places of Power Military Ground, where we have Shard Farming Skiff and Cursatan for Jabba. So you're working on Jabba. I like that. While not required, there are a couple of competing recommendations for the guild officers. They recommend Jedi Cal Kestis first for ROT. But it also provides a reliable JMK counter. They also recommend getting Peridia Patrol up passively because they would like everyone to be raid ready. Personally, I'm also interested in gearing up GM Morgan, but that's a painful Cantina farm. How would you balance these competing demands? Would you delay Java for Jedi Cal Kestis? How much importance to place on Peridia Night Sisters? Are you dead set on continuing? JML for sure. How highly do you value efficiency? I'm into efficiency. Are there any favorite characters? GM and Morgan are probably the closest things I see. I will say it does suck that Great Mothers and Morgan are both high-end Cantina farms. I hate it as well. I got to a point where I actually started slow farming Great Mothers and only doing 5 battles a day because I just needed signal data way too much with what is going on there. Mr. Egnards, thoughts on the trio of new assault battles? Assume they are only worth it to go for once you commit to Ahsoka farm. It depends on your roster, I think, Pilkus. It depends on your roster, but I am gung-ho on any ROI point. Even if it's gonna take 2.5 to 3 years to hit that ROI. I just think that something like that is super important, especially for a long-term player. To be able to get on those resources as closely as possible. I don't think it's right for everybody, just like Cialis, but I do think that for late game veterans, it is always important to be on top of any ROI point. All right, let's check this out. Now, one thing I will add on this... Xylex Crew, shout out to Nomad. I love Nomad, JP, and I don't want to compete with... Here's what I will say. I don't know who in your guild is telling you these recommendations, but what I will tell you is that I'm very good friends with JP. We talk all the time. He is a very smart guy. I do trust his officers. I've talked to a few of them. I don't think that they would be giving you recommendations that they didn't feel were necessary. I will say I am firmly in the Peridia Patrol being the next raid camp. I do not like to speculate, but I am firmly in that camp. There is some dissent people are believing because they're saying they're stepping away from Ahsoka era content, that the next raid will not be Ahsoka era or Peridia Patrol. It does give me a little bit of pause to think about that, but I am still, I'd say, 90% in that Peridia Patrol camp. As far as bad ROI events, Leia is just a good GL overall, so I don't think Ender Escalation is an economy event that you need to favor or stress, because it does not provide a lot. You know, I don't think I've ever gotten a jackpot from it, which kind of sucks. Which does suck a lot. But I do think that because she's a good GL anyway, going for her and ending up with Ender Escalation is a nice bonus. And, you know, JP, what I mean is, having not looked at the account yet, I do typically very much trust you guys in what you're saying. And Oni, I agree with you. That is one of the reasons why I feel like there's no way it can be anything other than Peridia Patrol at this point. Or Peridia at this point. Okay, let's see. Oh, it is 7 million. We're kind of hitting past the ROI point on this raid. So we don't want to give too terribly much credence, but it looks like you're kind of hitting exactly where you need to, which is that 1+, I think it's 1.7 or whatever it is. Collection. Let's see, tools, gear tracker. Jabba, gathering gear, shard farming for Kursatan. Let's see where Jabba is at. Okay, we're not bad on Jabba. Let's see. You're hitting like 2, so it's not bad with Executor. You didn't go all in on Punisher, but it does seem like you bought a few packs, which is nice. It is a great ship. It seems like you have finished JML, or no, you haven't gotten the ultimate yet. Let's see these Jedi Knight Cal Kestis guys. Marin is done. Cal is not there yet. Tarful is not there yet. You basically, seems like you kind of have them almost ready anyway. Seer is not there yet. Who's the last one? Saw. Okay, so Saw is the only one you need to farm left. Let's check out our Peridia boys. And by the way, we have been calling these Peridia boys. Jace has, they gave me the idea, I don't know how to pronounce the name, Jace, gave me the idea for them, the Enox Boys Band, and I've been calling them the Dead, what have I been calling them? The Dead Boys Band, like the Naked Brothers Band, because they seem like Disney Channel exclusive, and it's just funny to me. Let's check out our Imperial Remnant, where are they? We haven't really kind of started these guys too much yet. Seems like you've done a little bit here. And then let's check out our Cursat. Oh man, that's rough. No Cursatan. Skiff is almost there. It seems like you might be all over the place in farming. And Halloween Leia, right? So Bosch is done. Oh. I think what I would say here, I don't know what you're actively farming right now. What are you currently working on? Thinking of putting off Balin. Doesn't perform as I was hoping you would. Next projects are more likely to be Jabba into either Profundity or Leia. Guild is asking for Genetic Kestis. We've been given the heads. Oh, I'm talking about somebody else. That's somebody else's thing. Let's see. What are you currently working on? It's the wrong person. There we go. Farming tickets, shard farming skiff, and Cursitan will not required. Saw is not a Cantina farm, right? No. Saw Gerrera is not a Cantina farm. I think what I would say is I would be giving Jabba more priority than Jedi Knight Cal Kestis, but there's no reason that you can't be doing them at the same time. The only farm you have left to shard farm is Saw Gerrera. And you do have a ways to go with Cursitan unless you like really spearhead and say, nope, I'm putting all of my signal data into that. I've said this for months and months and months and months, that, you know, one part of this is listening to me. The other part of this is guild advisement. And you really do want to be a guild player. It really sucks when people are not guild players. Oh yeah, he's a hard node farm, a 12 hard node farm. It really sucks when you don't have guild players, and when the guild kind of says go for Zepho, it's an important metric for the guild because that's so many extra Kyrotech, which really helps unlock that farm. So I don't see a reason why you can't be doing both at the same time, especially as you're shard farming all of the Jabba stuff. You only have Saw to farm on the Jedi Knight Cal Kestis stuff. You know, and you just need G12s for that. Whereas Jabba, you're going to need a lot of signal data as well. So you can definitely be running them as in a dyad where you're prioritizing Jabba, but also sectioning off into Jedi Knight Cal Kestis. When it comes to Peridia Patrol, you know, I see the writing on the wall. I hate to say yes, you have to go for them, because speculation is not something that I like to do, but I do think there's like a 90% chance that that's the next raid. And I do think that Peridia Patrol as a assault battle is going to be important, even though its ROI is less than Duel of the Fates. I think that I would definitely like to see you get another GL ship more than anything else at some point. But it doesn't look like you've really invested it in your Sith at all. Not at all. Gear tracker, what to ship. Oh, hi Sage. Good morning. Welcome to my first time chatters. Chitter chatters. Let's see. We want to check this real quick. Just that. Profundities. Not too far off. So I'm going to say the same thing. You know, you are someone that I do want to see more GL ships for. They're important. I know that Profundity has kind of gotten waysided in this new meta that we have. It still beats Leviathan with an MK6 reinforcement. And just looking at the way that CG has shifted metas in the past, I fully expect to see a lifter for Profundity in the next 3 to 5 months. I think that if I had your account, I would be I'd be prioritizing Jabba. I would use Jedi Knight Cal Kestis as my secondary farm. Notice I didn't say Jedi Knight Cal Kestis after, but I did say Jedi Knight Cal Kestis as my secondary farm. I would then, as those are finishing up, take Profundity as my primary farm and Peridia Patrol as my secondary farm. I would not put as much prominence to GM or Morgan at this juncture. Will they maybe be important in the next raid? Yeah, I think Balin might also be very important for the next raid, but I also think you're in a position where you just significantly need signal data, and they are rough farms to rationalize. It's just really tough. Being in the mid game and being asked to take a 16 energy Cantina farm. So I personally would wayside them right now. If we do find out that Peridia is the next raid, the good news of them being Cantina farms is that you can jump on them very fast. There's no 6-month wait. It's just going to be like a 1-month thing, and it'll hurt. But that, is something that you can kind of sanction off until later. So I think that that's where I would go with this is... I would definitely do Jabba first. I think it should be main priority. Jedi Knight Cal Kestis in the background right now. Do 5 battles on Saw a day while you're working on things. And then, like I said, Profundity is your next primary goal with Peridia Patrol as your background. If you can afford to start slow farming Peridia Patrol right now, that's not a bad thought, but I know that all 3 of them are on 20 energy nodes, and that can be really tough. I really struggled with it. I'm thankfully finishing it up at this point. Hopefully that helps, and I will again stress that talking with JP/Nomad constantly, he's a very fair guy and he's a very smart guy. I don't think he would be recommending things in a vacuum of just like do this for the sake of doing this. And he is constantly on these streams listening to my advice, so I would take that as part of what you're hearing here. How important is gas? I've been struggling with farming the Ewoks. It depends on where you are in the game, Sage. Gas is very strong. It's a really great B+, A- team to have. I don't think it's necessarily the most important in the early game. I do think a CLS squad is really important, so those Ewoks are going to be really important to you anyway. You could even do like Princess Kanessa, which will make the Ewoks a little bit easier, and she should be accelerated at this point, and it'll get you kind of on that train to be able to do Leia in the end. Darkness, man, I appreciate it. I do. We work really hard on that stuff. Moonborn makes everything that I do pretty. It takes a lot of time. I've been at my computer so much this week. I'm honestly so thankful for the streams that we did this summer. The streams for the sponsored streams to get me a PC, because it has made doing those videos so much easier, so much quicker. And Moonborn just does so much to make my stuff pretty enough to look at, and then breaks it down into text, which I think other creators would hate, because then people don't watch their videos. But as somebody who doesn't watch videos myself, I do try to be accessible to the people that don't watch videos as well. So I appreciate him. I appreciate him very, very, very greatly. That reminds me, by the way, before we do the next review, we've talked about this a lot over the last couple months. I know Nomad was a part of this, helping me with my streams this summer. We talked about doing a charity sponsorship, and it seems like we want to do that going into the holiday season. I'm thinking we might start that next week, because on Friday I'll have the morning off to be able to do a stream, because they require a certain amount of streaming hours. And it'll basically be playing like a shit tier mobile game for 2 weeks to raise money and hit goals, and just donate that all to, personally, my favorite is Penny Arcade's Child's Play charity. And I hope that, people will join me on that, because even just helping me for the sake of helping me get a PC, we raised a ton of money, and I'd love to give back to those, to charities that I enjoy and support. And I thought it would be a cool thing to do as a once a year thing. So I'm thinking maybe next week will be a good start of it, with the holiday weekend and me being able to do 1 or 2 days of streams like that. the data disks are going to change a lot. Absolutely. You know, it's going to change a lot for a lot of people, whether we have defensive disks or we have offensive disks. We have to... we did say Java, right? So we have to change that to farm Java there. Okay, there we go. All right, let's move on. Hopefully, we gave Dugu some things to think about, right? Hopefully, we did. We got to go back to Discord. Well, Zavor, the thing is, sometimes we see him for up to like 6 to 8 months. You know, so and then we had like a hybrid set. So who knows what they're gonna do? And I don't think any new data disks were data mined, which was interesting. Which means that it's probably going to be a set that's already in the game. All right, we got Dugu, right? We have Tonik. Tonik 11:17. Today's 11:24, so we're not too far behind. 2:21. 0:0. All right, let's see what we got here, shall we? A lot of words. Let's drink some water. Oh my God. Zavor, I see you on here. I was just saying before you came on, that we're going to see Wicked today. I heard it was very good. We're excited. Does Star Wars Galaxy are not WR win rate? What's WR? Going for a second round of my roster review as I completed a lot from last time, 6 months ago, not sure where to focus next. What's the top 20 of your fleet arena look like? Leviathans with Dagger started and Executors with P1. Not coordinating. I'm a bad fleet member. Most times I can claw my way into top 10. Very small chances I get number 5. It's working right now for me, hopefully. .gg. Yeah, I've been using it. I have like 6 different .gg tabs open right now. Pretty much watch to see who is moving the hour before payout, which is usually not in the top whatever. I can get bumped to rank 20 by the next day. Man, reach out to your fleet shard, man. Do it. Like, it makes life so much easier. Like, not reaching out to your fleet shard is basically saying, do I want to make things hard for myself? Yes, let's make things hard for myself. It makes life so much easier. I can get bumped to rank 20 by the next day, so always got to climb. Assault battles. Looks like we have them all in order except for Secrets and Shadows. But you got CT1, which is great. What are you currently working on? Waiting for Jar Jar Binks event, have the gear to send him to R5, then spending on JMK. All requirements are at R0 or above. Are you dead set? JMK, yes. I feel like I need him to fill in some gaps for Conquest. He is great for Conquest. Other farms I'm considering would be Seer, Jedi Knight Cal Kestis to R7 for TB, Zepho, Bo-Katan Mandalore R7 requirements for TB, and other relic requirements of teams that are a mix of relics and sub G13. Lots of unfinished teams in terms of gear. Some optional team. Let's see how fast I can do this. Hold on. Let's see how fast I can talk. We're going to do this like a Cialis commercial. Okay. Some optional teams farming from bench would be Iden to R5 to help fleet, and now can cause IMS, LSB, BF, SOG to R5 for LV counters, C-Rex to R3 for possible RV Reva counters, SK Johanny Visas to R5 for SK counters, and lastly, working my prayers to CG for a clones or Imperial Troopers LSB. Up, we got the Imp Troopers one. Unfinished Conquest Progress DTMG at 250 at 330, Ezra at 275 at 330, Terran at 285 at 330, current Shard Farms, Enoch 0 of 100, Night Troopers 11 of 100, DT Priority 18 of 100, Shin 3 of 85 will finish. Whatever his name is. Stap 80 of 85 and Comeuppance 24 of 85. Maybe we'll do Comeuppance to 6, then come back later before swamping back relic materials. We'll probably use crystals to take my ship to 7 in 2025. Probably finish Executor because it's my primary Leviathan counter right now. Then every other month we'll spend crystals on some ship refreshes, hitting 3 million personally, and probably won't get higher until Gungans to R8, but doing top 10 in guild. How highly do you value efficiency? Efficiency all the way. Are there any favorite characters you want to prioritize, even though you know it's probably not smart? Nope. That was really hard to do because some of those weren't words. It was very hard to get acronyms. It is a lot to do acronyms quickly. All right, let's see what we got. Let's pop this open. Tonik, UW Scarif. Where are you at on here? Raids. Your guild is doing not that much. Your guild is really doing not a lot on this raid at 505 million. Your guild has said fuck you to this raid. That is incredible. And you are doing way above and beyond. Way above and beyond. They should be like heavily praising you. Alright, let's see. You have Jabba. Okay, perfect. SLKR, Jedi Master Luke, Rey, NC. Alright. You know what's interesting about shards, Nena, is I thought a lot of my shard quit, and it was just that they were lazy on doing their shards, because now that that punishing one came out, I've seen a lot of names pop up that have not popped up in the past. Alright, we got Rey. You got Zori. Let's see what's going on here with everything else. I personally don't give a shit about Malicos. I know you're farming him right now. You have Profundity. You have Executor. You have Leviathan. Alright. That's good. Tools. Let's check out our gear tracker. You said you have them all at R0 or above, so it's really just putting that stuff on them. You already have Jabba, so yeah, you should go for it. Leia, Bo-Katan. You don't have Cal yet, right? Let's see. No. Keller and Beck is at Relics. Ig 12 is at 7. Ig 12. Keller and Beck. Who the hell is the third one? Ig 12. Oh, Paz. And Paz is at 7. Now, what about these guys? Saw is at 12. Marin is at whatever. Seer. Okay, Tarful. Oh, Baby Cal. I always forget about Baby Cal. I typed in Baby Cal like a dumbass. Alright, I mean, with where you are with Jedi Knight Cal Kestis, I would absolutely be getting them to R7. Hands down. Like, that should be a priority for you. You already have it farmed. Do it. It'll help your guild out so much. Same thing with Bo-Katan. Those should both be priority farms. I cannot stress enough. Even just completing the mission for the Get 2 and Get 3 and everything is super, super helpful. And once your guild is doing those planets, Chirotech need, I mean, you're still in the mid-ish game with like GLs, so it's not going to disappear, but it's going to significantly diminish needing those things. So I definitely prioritize Seer, Jedi Knight Cal Kestis, and Bo-Katan Mandalore. With where you are at with JMK, yes, go for JMK first. I understand waiting for Jar Jar Binks because you presumably already have your other Gungans wherever they need to be, right? Yep. So I understand that. But I can't imagine you don't already have like enough. Like, do the math, figure out how much relic material you need total, and use those, treat those as your zeros while you're waiting on those other things, right? So that you're not just waiting in a holding pattern doing absolutely nothing right now. Do JMK as your priority, get that completely out of the way, finish up Seer, Jedi Knight Cal Kestis, and Bo-Katan Mandalore. I guarantee You can get all 3 of those done in 3 to 4 months. I guarantee 3 to 4 months you can get all of those 3 things done and be like super happy with where you are. Honestly, I don't really see a lot of importance for, where is it, Stap. It's a Cantina farm. I understand you started doing it. I don't see it as an important Cantina farm unless you go for the Omicron. The Omicron does make that team a lot stronger than it currently is, but I don't see it as a need. It's more of a want, and with all of the projects that you presumably have going on, that want kind of drizzles down and becomes like a is it really necessary? Comeuppance is a great ship if you're just slow farming it, but again, it doesn't really shift your meta unless you're finding you just need another ship at this point. I would love to see Leviathan hit 7 stars as your next priority for your ship once Executor is done. I don't remember the date that they changed the counter, but this was only a week ago, so you were presumably still beating Leviathans with your Executor. You can also, if you get Profundity to 7 stars, you can use that with MK6 as your opening reinforcement, and that is a great counter to Leviathan as well. But I definitely would like you to see you finish JMK, Jedi Knight Cal Kestis, and Mandalore in that order as just being incredible priorities for you. Looking at these other farms. Now, fuck BF Soj. Like, Boba Fett Soj is dumb. I hate him. He's like just a stupid character, and the day that you guys vote for him on my bi-weekly polls to take things to relics is the day that I quit this game and hate all of you. That's what Bo-Katan Mandalore is for. Ignore that. Where you are in the game, I do see some importance to getting the Enoch Night Trooper Peridia, as a background farm right now. Definitely at least 5 battles a day would be really nice. And the reality is that with where you are between Jar Jar Binks, JMK, Jedi Knight Cal Kestis, and Bo-Katan, the game is going to be in a different place after you do that. But I would say totally skip Scion of Django. Totally skip finishing up Stop right now. C-Rex to R3, yes, definitely C-Rex. That Phoenix team with C-Rex is just beautiful. It is just so lovely. Juhani, if you Omicron Juhani for TW is fine. I see less and less people putting Starkiller on defense because there's a lot of counters to it, and you don't really need Juhani for offense. So I would really be careful about doing that. And personally, my Iden at R3 does perfectly fine. What I think I'd like to see you do after those things, because your ships are primarily in order, you just need to put a little prominence, maybe 2 to 3 refreshes a month between them, or on whatever one your lowest is. I think in 4 months the game is going to be shifted to where this may change, but in a vacuum right now, I would say go for Leia next. But again, that's in a vacuum where we don't know what's going on in 4 months. Once we find out where the raid is, that might change to, hey, put more prominence toward your Imperial Remnant stuff for the raid, or your Night Sister stuff for the raid. But in a vacuum right now, I would say Leia is a good option for you, and totally crossing out the shit that that we told you to cross out on your farm list. You know, that's where I would go with this. Hopefully it helps. And you do have Java, so that makes my life so much easier. Tuscans, I love my Tuscan 3v3 team, to be completely honest. I think they're a great 3v3 team. They're helpful. They're a pain in the ass. They're annoying. As far as how long is left on the Naboo raid, based on the timeline of older raids, we should see February, March is when we're going to see a raid shift. Late February into early March. You know, will that stay true? Don't know. Some people are thinking they're going to push this one a little further in order to not do Peridia. Don't know. But based on the current raid timelines, we're looking at February to March. So I'm hoping that you know, Tonik, I hope that helps you out a little bit, and gets you, you know, where you need to be going. It's about 10. When is my movie today? Let's see. Let's check out when these tickets are. Come on. Ooh, it's at 11:15. So I definitely need to finish up because we got to get going soon. So for those of you that have been waiting on reviews, I apologize, but there's only so many I can get to in a week. With all of that said, thank you for joining me for brunch. What we are going to do now is one of my favorite things is, let's see who is on to raid. I see some people that I normally talk to. I normally raid the Lysol, but I happen to like Womp Rat too, and I don't raid him often enough. So let's give him some love today. Don't forget to vote in the Gungies. You know, buy me a beer. Send me beer money. Charity stream. Gungies is the most important one, though. Raid the Lost Womp Rat. And let's show this guy some love. Ba-da-da-da-da. I'm loving it.